Welcome back, everyone. We had a very enriching start to Unconvention and have an action-packed day ahead. For those of you who have just joined us and could not attend the sessions in the morning, the recording of those sessions should be up on the platform very soon. I now invite Mr. Maneet Gohil, who is founder and CEO of Lalten, and Sanchit, who is co-founder of Lalten. Also, we have Shamli Devi, who is a micro-entrepreneur, to start the third session of the day on catalyzing rural micro-entrepreneurship. Mohammad Azhar, who is program lead at Will Grow, will be moderating this session. Over to you, Azhar.
Thank you so much, Anubha, for introducing us, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to discuss very focused topic that on rural micro entrepreneurship. So before introducing the panel member here, I would like to share some important data point that is very important to understand the objective behind of this session. So I would like to so Willgrow basically is running a lot of 2-3 programs in the rural micro entrepreneurs focusing. So one is that powering livelihood, and the second is invent program. So what we have seen in last 2-3 years, that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially social entrepreneurs that we have funded and incubated, they have working very closely with rural micro entrepreneurs. And if we see the data, so around 20% of the 20% of the entrepreneurs that incubated by Willgrow in last 3-4 years, they are directly providing the market access to the rural entrepreneurs, and that makes very much touching point to all of us, because these micro entrepreneurs, because of the intervention of startups, they are now scaling and sustaining themselves. Also, they are increasing the livelihood and the income generation activities in the rural areas as well. So therefore, we found that the platform, one of the platform is very much needed now, which is our market access platform for the rural entrepreneurs through the startups with the support of incubators. So therefore, we designed this session along with 2 more sessions, which will coming out tomorrow and day after tomorrow, with different donors and different people. So today we are focusing mostly on the rural entrepreneur and startup journey and startup role, and in this sustaining the rural micro entrepreneurship. So with me, I have 2 very young founders of Lalten, very encouraging founders, because of we have seen them, they are growing like rapidly, and they are growing very much in the market as well. So I Maneet here with Sanchit, both are the co-founder of Lalten, and second panel member is Shamli Devi. Shamli Devi basically supported by Lalten in the journey of her business. So I request, before starting discussion, I request Anubha to start with a small video that on the life and on the journey of the Shamli Devi. After that, we can go for a panel discussion. Anubha, to you.
Sure, Azhar. मेरा नाम श्यामली है। अभी 2.5 साल हुआ है मैं लालटेन से भी जुड़ी हूँ। लालटेन से भी काम आता है मेरे पास। ये मैं कर पाऊंगी ये तो मैंने सोचा नहीं था। बचपन पे मैंने सिलाई कढ़ाई किया नहीं। मेरा गांव में है ना, हम लोग गांव में थे तो उतना ज्यादा पढ़ाई लिखाई भी हुआ नहीं, तो जल्दी जल्दी शादी कर दे। मेरे 16 साल में मेरा शादी हो गए थे। 16 साल में मेरा शादी हो गए थे। 19 साल में मेरा बच्चा हुआ है, मेरा लड़का 19 साल में हुआ है। फिर गांव से शादी करके तुरंत यहीं पे ही 22 साल से मैं यहीं पे आने के बाद मेरा हस्बैंड का उतना तो कमाई था नहीं। उनका जो होता था कमाई वो सिर्फ जैसे हमारा वो खाना पीना ये इतना तक ही था। जैसे मेरे बच्चे को कुछ देना कुछ करना, वो सब फालतू खर्च में उठा नहीं पाते थे। अभी तो मेरा लड़का तो ये सरकारी में पढ़ते थे, इसमें ये शहीद बिहार में। तो अभी मेरा लड़की जब पढ़ रही है सरजी नगर में, वो प्राइवेट स्कूल है, अच्छा स्कूल है। उसमें मेरे लड़के को लेके गई थी, लेकिन कर नहीं पाई थी उसमें। उस टाइम के हालात बहुत खराब था। जैसे 5,000 रुपए से मैं मेरे लड़का को एडमिशन करूंगी, उस टाइम नहीं था। तो ये सरकारी में मेरा लड़का पढ़ाया। बचपन में कुछ कुछ आते थे, मम्मी को कुछ कुछ सिलाई वलाई देखते थे करते, कुछ तो आते थे। और दूसरा काम का तो इतना नॉलेज नहीं है, नहीं कर पाती। यही काम अच्छा लगा तो यही कर लेती। जैसे ये घर में भी बच्चे भी देखना हो जाता है और ये काम भी हो जाता है। तो पहले 1-2 पीस लाके मैं करती थी घर पे, तो बहुत लेडीज आके बोलते थे दीदी आप कर रहे हो, हमें भी दिला दो, आप तो घर पे भी लाके करते हो, तो आप ऐसे करो, आप लेके आओ, जैसे हम लोगों को भी दो, हम लोग भी कुछ हेल्प हो जाए, हम लोग भी तो ऐसे बैठे रहते हैं। चलो ऐसे करके मैं 1-2 ज्यादा करके लेके फिर 1-2 को लेडीज को देते देते, फिर आओ लेडीज आके बोलते थे दीदी उनको दे रहे हो तो मेरे को भी दे दो, हम लोग भी करेंगे। तो ऐसे ऐसे करके मेरा लेडीज बढ़ गया, ज्यादा हो गया। हाँ मेरे लिए जरूरी है। देखिए मैं तो बाहर कहाँ जाऊंगी काम करने के लिए, मैंने सोचा चलो मेरा हस्बैंड का भी कुछ हेल्प हो जाएंगे, बच्चे को भी पढ़ाई लिखाई में भी हेल्प हो जाता है ना। जैसे मेरा बच्चा कोई कोर्स करेंगे कुछ करेंगे, उनका एक काम ऐसे होता नहीं है। मेरे हस्बैंड का जो काम है उसमें होते नहीं है, तो बच्चे तो जिद करते नहीं मम्मी ये करूंगी वो करूंगी, तो मैं करती हूँ, तो मेरे से भी कुछ हेल्प हो जाता है उनको।
अभी पढ़ाई कर रहा हूँ मैं और डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि उसका ज़्यादा स्कोप है और आगे चल के डिजिटल इंडिया हो रही है, तो इसलिए मैं ये डिजिटल मार्केटिंग का कोर्स कर रहा हूँ, वेबसाइट डिज़ाइनिंग का। घर में ही अभी बनाते हैं वेबसाइट, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आता है। एक आया था अभी यूएसए का रिसेंटली में, तो वो हमने बनाया था, प्लम्बिंग का था। फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस था, थोड़ा डर लगा था कैसा बनेगा कैसा नहीं ये वो, तो बट लास्ट में काम उन्हें बहुत पसंद आया, अच्छा लगा उन्हें भी और हमें भी अच्छा लगा उनका काम करके।
सपने तो बहुत ही है, सपने तो बहुत ही देखती हूँ, भगवान जाने पूरा होगा कि नहीं होगा। सोचती मेरा बच्चा ये करे वो करे, सपना तो बहुत ही बना रही हूँ। ऐसे तो मेरा बेटी पढ़ाएंगे लिखेंगे फिर कुछ करेंगे आगे आगे के लिए, ऐसे माहौल में नहीं रहूंगी। मेरा सोच ऐसे नहीं है जैसे मेरे बेटी के ऐसे घर में दूर घर में ही पिसते रहे, नहीं ऐसे नहीं। क्या होगा आगे ही देखेंगे, सपना तो बहुत ही है।
भगवान आपके सपनों को जरूर पूरा करे शामली जी, और हम सबका प्रयास रहेगा कि आपके सपनों में जो भी 4 चांद लगाना चाहें हम लोग लगाएं और हमारा भरपूर सहायता रहेगा इसके लिए। So now I request Maneet, because Maneet is supporting Shamli Devi type of entrepreneurs, rural entrepreneurs, more than 1,000 entrepreneurs he has supported, and he's provided the market access of such entrepreneurs in different geography of the world, not only in India. He's also working with different geography in Europe and USA. A lot of other customers they have in the line, international customers like Zara, like Big Bazaar and all. So I request Maneet to share his role in developing the micro entrepreneurs and how the Lalten is working with them. Yeah, Maneet, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Ajay, for this opportunity. Myself, Maneet, and my co-founder, Sanchit. So we both represent Lalten here. Lalten is fairly a recent organization wherein we have started it 3.5 years ago. I'll share my screen and take you through the impact and the work which we have been doing to give you a glimpse about Lalten. Overall, we have structured Lalten as a B2B marketplace wherein we are connecting rural entrepreneurs like Shamli Didi and SMEs across small villages in India to global retailers. If we look at it a bigger picture, we have 9.1 million artisans similar to Shamli Didi across the country, and mostly all of them are not digitized yet and are solely dependent on export houses and offline retail channels to sell their products. In the last 1 year has been very tough for most of us, especially with Didi and similar kind of entrepreneurs we work with. This entire sector has 9.1 million artisans, and the basic problem which these artisans and micro entrepreneurs face is access to markets. They are mostly dependent to sell their products in offline channels or local markets or exhibitions. And in last 1 year with pandemic, it has been a big challenge and trouble for all of them. Second big problem is in terms of investing in capacity to build their production so that they can suffice their productions to large entities, and mostly they have been limited to small productions and eventually lesser revenues. They do not have access to finance also. Other problems which they face, I think, is most importantly the design aspect, wherein contemporary designs is something which the global markets and mature markets and domestic markets also want, but they have primarily been working on traditional goods which do not face market opportunities. On the other hand, quickly, the problems which large retailers face is that they are all dependent on middlemen, layers of middlemen. They're extremely manual in their process and very low in technology enablement. Overall, how Lalten operates is with the help of micro entrepreneurs like Shamli Didi. So we today have 28 such micro entrepreneurs which are spread across 8 Indian states, 8 Indian low-income states. And we have a network of more than 1,800 such kind of artisans which are being monitored by these micro entrepreneurs of Lalten. As simple as it is, what we do is that we skill people like Shamli Didi to understand our design knowledge, to understand the contemporary products which they can create. We help them to skill in terms of increasing their capacities to create uniform goods in good qualities. And also, in the last 1 year, we have been focusing a lot on to skilling them with technology when they cannot reach out to more offline markets themselves for exhibitions. So that's what we do. Our entire focus is to skill micro entrepreneurs, and micro entrepreneurs are typically people who act as Lalten employees in villages, and they are villagers themselves living there in the rural part of the country. We then create the supply, aggregate them, and then take it to an inflow of 3,000 plus B2B inquiries, which we generate from global and domestic retailers across the country. Overall, our focus has been more on creating micro entrepreneurs whom we call as cluster champions, like Shamli Didi. And second is in terms of providing right design support to create contemporary goods. And now in the last 1 year with pandemic, we have realized that technology is something which we need to penetrate in the small villages so that we can take their products even when we cannot travel to these places. As normal case studies, we have actually created cases of rural to global, not in the last 1 year, but over the last 4 years. While we have provided products to Zara, which have been manufactured in Manipur. Kalpana Jena, one of our micro entrepreneurs in Baripada, has been able to create contemporary coasters and grasses for brands like Toast in US and in UK. And similarly, we have worked with block printers in Jaipur and Sanganer Belt to create goods for boutiques and emporiums in Los Angeles. One of them is Amber Fort. And again, for online marketplaces over the last 18 months for giving products like lamps and lighting for Pepper Fry. Majorly, our product ranges is textile focused because textile, we understand, is more of need than want, and everyone needs it. So demand for textiles is primarily large. In textiles, we have yardages, home furnishings, apparels as well. This is a network of micro entrepreneurs and the artisans where we work across the country. Overall, we have been a company which facilitates right designs, right production from these micro entrepreneurs to global buyers. And we have a network of almost 300 and more buyers which have been spread across 18 countries, from the likes of Abendia, Taneira, Wills Lifestyle, Zara, or online places like Okhai, brands, designers like House of Anita Dongre, and the likes of Go Colors who have been buying from us. In terms of our impact, despite of pandemic, over the last 1 year, we have been able to work with 1,800 artisans. We are increasing our number of artisans by 20% month on month with the incoming demand which we are seeing. Overall, since we have been able to eliminate layers of middlemen, we have been also able to increase the wages of these artisans. And we are a fair trade certified company. So we have increased their wages by 28%. And our focus is in terms of skilling them with 200 and more contemporary designs proactively every month, so that they can have a strong livelihood for entire 365 days and sustainable income as that would help them. We are also now helping them skill with mobile CRMs so that they can build in efficiencies and scalability into our business. As you can see, we actively seek feedbacks from all our artisans. We interact almost with 220 such interviews every month to understand what pain points they are facing. And unless we understand the pain points, we will not be able to innovate or try to solve problems for them. As you can see, we in the last 1 year, we have created paper prototypes of our mobile CRM, which we have taken it to our artisans so that they can play around with it, and then given our mobile application to them so that they can create much more efficiencies. And that's how we are also skilling them to create efficiencies in their entire supply chain using our technology products. As you can see on how we have been able to skill contemporary designs to these artisans across these 8 states, almost 200 designs which we create every month. And that's how our teams interact with them. We are a team of 3 co-founders, Sanchit, Albin, and myself. We are engineers from Delhi College of Engineering and IIT Madras and have worked with Flipkart earlier. We have recently onboarded the head of supply chain at Fab India to head our supply chain, and head of design at IT Civils to head our design team, and from Builder, the head for sales to us. I think all of this has been a journey wherein we have been very fortunate to have good pool of investors and advisors who have been able to help us in supply chain and technology, in terms of market access, and in terms of creating right value for export markets, also with the help of these people who have done it over the last few years. We have been fortunate to gather certain awards, part of the GSB Accelerator at Santa Clara and Forbes India and Forbes Asia 30 and the 30. And certain other media features where we have been published, which has only helped us garner more of our demand. So that's what we do, Ajar, and thanks a lot for this opportunity to present Lalten to you.
Great, Maneet. It's very encouraging. It's very, those are watching, those are listening your presentations, they must take a lot of points that you are doing, because a lot of startups working in this space are basically not able to reach out to the scale because of not adopting the technology in their business model. So I hope the people, startups listening you, they can take some of the good initiatives that you have taken to sustain the micro entrepreneurs, as well as sustaining the local shops as well. So I'm coming to the point. There is a lot of problem that you are facing, especially in the Corona phase, while reaching to a micro entrepreneur, working with micro entrepreneurs, building their capacity and all. So let us know, because everyone would like to know if someone would like to design some program for where we can sustain micro entrepreneurs through like a startup like you. So tell us what are the problem that you are facing in building the capacity in finding such people in the rural areas?
Sure. Yeah. So, Azhar, thanks for that question. The most important thing which I feel is identifying demand first. Once we have identified demand, it is very important to co-link it to that clusters, and then identifying the right micro entrepreneurs, skilling them with the right adequate values in terms of design or in terms of uniform production capabilities and qualities. Once we have been able to do this, then it becomes very interesting, wherein we have to earn trust of these micro entrepreneurs, and the trust is only earned if we can give them opportunities to earn, right? And in the beginning, this has been a big challenge. When we go to a cluster, we also do not have orders in our hand until we understand the production capabilities and the quality which these micro entrepreneurs can produce their goods at. So it's a chicken egg problem wherein we have to invest a lot of our efforts, time into skilling the micro entrepreneurs until we get orders and then do financing for them. As we are a growth focused company and an impact focused company, we also do not invest a lot of capital into firstly skilling, but we try to finance our skilling with the help of orders which we get. So we do order financing to our micro entrepreneurs. And that's a little slow as a process if we do it, and that's one of the challenges which we face. Earning trust has been a big problem also because layers of middlemen historically have been exploiting the micro entrepreneurs and the entire ecosystem of artisans in small villages. I think overall we have been able to do this all organically in the last 3.5 years, wherein we have reached to the villages, clusters, and grown up and built our network from bottoms up. And we have not leveraged any of the support from local bodies or government. And I think that's something where we can actually create much more value if we can get that support. And that has been a big challenge as we do it, as it takes a lot of time to do it organically on our own. Overall, I think I would say that on a broader level, there has been the entire setup of creating a micro entrepreneur involves a lot of investment and from our end, and the fruits come a little later, right? And it's important to basically retain them as well. So we need to give them consistent demand and orders throughout the year so that we can retain them. So primarily these has been some of the ground challenges, I would say. And since finance becomes a pivotal point in terms of providing it to the micro entrepreneurs, at our level, we can only finance it with the help of the orders which we get. And the time which our resources can put and invest to skill these micro entrepreneurs. So I would say that these are the basic ground challenges which we face.
Okay, so it's looked like there's some working capital requirement at the side of micro entrepreneurs, also very much a challenge that you are facing. So I understand there is a lot of bank linkages program going on on the field, and certain NGOs like NRLMs, also government also working to create a lot of bank linkages of such artisans, such people, so they can work, they can develop a good product as per the demand of the international national market. So if just before going to Shamli Devi ji, I have one top-up question to you. Is it possible to scale up such a business? Because someone has asked very good questions. Is it possible to scale up such a business given that your model is not designed for mass production?
Correct. Yeah, I think Azhar, that's a very valid question in terms of how we have scaled up gradually and how we have scaled up in the past. But I think for that, what we have identified in the sector is that we have now a very clear-cut focus in terms of demand and in terms of the products that we want to focus with. So today, the micro entrepreneurs that we have built inside our model are working at a very minute product level as well. So they kind of bring in to a lot of new designs that our design team supports with these micro entrepreneurs. Plus, at the same time, we are also gauging demand and are increasing our supply capabilities in the cluster, right? So today, if I have a micro entrepreneur working in a cluster, I can build in 2 micro entrepreneurs and I can make sure that I'm managing double or triple number of artisans there because I can make that much products now in that particular cluster. So in a way, we are also with a demand into place in terms of retailers today. We are also putting up a lot of supply capabilities and production capabilities built up in the clusters itself so that the model becomes scalable. And that is something which has been possible because we start at one cluster level with one micro entrepreneur, but gradually what we have done is that we have kind of scaled it up to different clusters so that model becomes scalable across different states.
Okay.
And Ajay, if you look at it, we have a potential of more than 9 million unorganized artisans across the country. So in itself, looking at different geographies like the South Asian belt with Vietnam, Bangladesh, and even Latin American countries, here the similar artisan and Vietnam, for example, these countries, the artisan organizations or artisan micro entrepreneurs operate like a small factory, right? And they have been the primary source of giving products to big retailers like IKEA or Walmarts of the world. So why not India, wherein we have so many of these artisans? So definitely, I think I would say it has been unorganized sector historically, and now it's time to organize it and become the manufacturers for the world, actually, which we can easily do.
Great, Maneet. I will come back to you in the second round. So I'm going to Shamli Devi ji. Shamli Devi ji, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
जी
बिल्कुल। तो जैसा हम लोगों ने अभी आपकी वीडियो देखी, काफी प्रभावित किया हमको और सब हमारे व्यूअर्स को आपकी वीडियो, आपकी जर्नी, आपका संकल्प, आपका दृढ़ निश्चय, आपके अपने घर वालों को संभालने का, अपने बच्चों को संभालने का, अपनी जिंदगी संभालने का। तो जैसा आपने आखिरी में बोला कि सपने तो हमारे बहुत है, सपने हमें पूरे करने हैं, तो हम तो चाहेंगे, भगवान से हमारी प्रार्थना है और हम सब की आप दुआ आपके साथ है कि आपके सारे सपने पूरे हों। तो इन सपनों को पूरा करने के लिए अगर मैं आपसे बोलूं कि मान लीजिए आपके सामने दो लोग हैं, लालटेन के लोग बैठे हुए हैं और सामने आपके पूरी दुनिया हो, एक तरफ लालटेन के लोग बैठे हो और सामने आपकी पूरी दुनिया हो, तो आप इन दोनों से क्या चाहेंगे जिससे आपके सपने पूरे हो जाएं? क्या आपके बिजनेस को, आपके धन, आपके जो आप काम कर रही हैं उसको बढ़ाने के लिए, अपने सपने पूरा करने के लिए आपको ऐसी क्या सहायता, क्या ज़रूरतें हैं ग्राउंड लेवल पे, आपके लेवल पे, जो आप हम सब से लेना चाहेंगी जल्द से जल्द?
काम आना चाहिए, काम चाहिए।
कैसा काम, थोड़ा बताएंगे इसको? काम तो आपको लालटेन लोग दे रहे हैं, आपका प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा रहे हैं, तो काम तो ठीक है, आपके जो 7 लोग काम कर रहे हैं उनको काम मिलना चाहिए, तो आप बहुत आवश्यक है, लेकिन क्या वो काम को करने के लिए बहुत चीज़ें चाहिए, जैसे पैसा हो गया, जैसे आपको रॉ मटेरियल हो गया, आपको खुद करना आना चाहिए, आपके लोगों को करना आना चाहिए ऐसे काम। तो ये सब बढ़ाने के लिए, मतलब जो रिसोर्स है जिसके वजह से आपको ये काम पूरा हो पाएगा, वो पाने के लिए आपको हमसे क्या उम्मीदें हैं और क्या सहायता चाहिए? आप हमें थोड़ा खुल के बताएं कि आपको आपके धंधे को बढ़ाने के लिए, आपके बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए क्या क्या सहायता आपको?
दुल्हन की रोज काम चाहिए,
रोज तो हमें काम चाहिए,
ये रोज तो होता नहीं है,
सालों में एक बार।
डिजिटल
डिजिटल जैसे फोन में ऐप चलाना, ये सब तो आता नहीं है हमें, ये सब भी वो चाहिए।
आप घबराए ना, आप पूरा खुल के बताएं। अच्छा, आप ये बताएं कि
लज्जा भी
मुझे समझ में आ रहा है। हाँ हाँ जी, आप बिल्कुल मत घबराएं, आप अपना, आप जैसे आपने वीडियो में बोला इतना अच्छा से, आप, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो लोग ऑडियंस हैं जो बैठे देख रहे हैं, वो जानना चाहते हैं कि ग्राउंड पे आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम फेस होती है। अगर मान लीजिए आपको 2 दिन का काम नहीं मिला, हाँ, मान लीजिए आप 30 दिन काम करते
तो
हैं,
आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं हम, हाँ, पूरा ट्रेनर होना चाहिए,
अपना काम
ट्रेनर होना चाहिए ना हमें, थोड़ा वो चाहिए,
ट्रेनिंग चाहिए आपको।
ट्रेनर होना चाहिए।
हमें थोड़ा ट्रेन होना चाहिए और हमें और चाहिए कि हमें भी काम करने का मौका मिले और हमारा काम आगे बढ़े। जैसे घर में जैसे रेगुलर अगर रोज आए हम लोगों के लिए हेल्प हो जाएगा, मतलब
रोज काम चाहिए ना, अभी तो काम
चलते रहेंगे, जैसे साल में एक बार होता है।
अभी आप कितने दिन काम, महीने में कितने दिन काम करती हैं अभी आप?
महीने में तो करते हैं, पर हमें चाहिए कि
हर दिन चाहिए ना, हर दिन के लिए काम चाहिए,
हर दिन के लिए काम चाहिए।
हर दिन के काम चाहिए।
तो मतलब आप कहने का मतलब है कि लालटेन जैसे और लोग भी हमारे साथ जुड़े,
बिल्कुल,
जिससे हमारा प्रोडक्शन हमारी बढ़ सके और हमें रोज काम मिल सके।
हाँ जी, हाँ।
ठीक है, तो हम आपके पास वापस आएंगे। सो मनीत, we understand there is a lot of requirement in the because we have already spoken with Shamli Devi before the session and all. So she told about the certain problem that they are facing. Andrea, please mute. Yeah. So before, so you can Mani, because she is not able to explain things rightly here. So I request you, because you people are working with her directly and a lot of entrepreneurs as well. So could you please share the basic needs of these rural entrepreneurs while scaling in the business? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, definitely, Ajay. I think so. One more important things are that so as she said that they need access to business throughout every single day throughout the year. So I think basic चीज होती है business. हर business in a sense उनको हर रोज opportunity to work मिले. I think and it is dependent on a lot of other things. जैसे अगर if she would have more artisans working under her, then she would be able to create outputs which are larger, not small outputs, but larger outputs which would be more valuable for demand. Small outputs होता है तो they are less biased, large outputs होते हैं then they are light focused bias जो कि पूरे साल business दे सकें. Second is in terms of I would say every micro entrepreneur should also be skilled as a master artisan, so that they are right now तो जितने micro entrepreneurs हैं ये organically from ground micro entrepreneurs बने, they are not skilled as micro entrepreneurs. So if they are skilled as a master artisan, then they can understand how to grow their how to increase the quality of the product and eventually create more of those products. I think ये दो चीजें important है, and I would say that it's also important to make their businesses much more formal. कल को शामली दीदी को अगर suppose उनकी दुकान set करनी है, उनकी दुकान के लिए उनको लोन चाहिए, तो वो लोन के लिए basically LLP something, then it becomes easier for them to raise some debt from the banks also, so that they are not only dependent on companies like Galten for business, but overall they can get more opportunities with their own shops or their own setups, जहाँ से they can also become a point of source to sell. And otherwise, I would also say last thing is in terms of capacity also, capacity building. So if they need sewing machines, then there might be right people who can support them to buy that sewing machines. As a company, Lalten can facilitate in terms of right designs which can make the product much more marketable. At a time, we can also support in terms of getting that market access, so that we can bring in some orders. शामली दीदी ने काम किया है फैब इंडिया के लिए, शामली दीदी ने हमारे साथ काम किया है फैब इंडिया के लिए, ITC विल्स के लिए, अनीता डोंगरे के लिए, जहाँ ये कांधा एम्ब्रॉयडरी करती हैं. So I think as part of our job is to help them connect with large retailers and buyers जो कि उनकी दुकान पे नहीं आ सकते हैं. और so I think that's what our role is, and I think that is the basic support help which the micro entrepreneurs, as an example, which Shamli Didi should have.
Yeah, that is understandable, because you people are not sitting with a lot of money to provide the working capital to such rural entrepreneurs. That is very much needed in the ground, and that is also the request to the listener, especially from the government and the foundation side, to design something which is very much requirement, because we have seen a lot of my entrepreneurs, especially belong to the SHG. They are sometimes they are defaulting, and their CIBIL scoring is not such, or high mark scoring is not such mature, such good, so they can generate their own personal loan or own business loan from the banks and MFIs. So for such type of entrepreneurs who are very much skilled and very much good in going to the market, is required to set up a good working capital stream through banks or cooperatives or rural banks or NBFC as well. So just going to forward of this session, if I ask you, Maneet, what exactly that you needed to double such RMEs? Because right now you're working with 1,100 RMEs, and if I say in the next 1 year or 2 year, let's take 2 year, I need a triple of RMEs. So what will be the take of your side to double this?
So I'll just correct Ajay. So we are working with only 28 micro entrepreneurs. 28 micro entrepreneurs हैं जो कि 1800 कारीगर के साथ काम करते हैं. So every micro entrepreneur on a roughly have 40 to 50 artisans working with them, and this is in 8 states. So I would say that see, as a company we have learned कि micro entrepreneurs कैसे बनाना है, ecosystem कैसे काम कर सकता है from bottoms up, from scratch for the last 4 years, and our financing only happens to them on order basis. Because we also do not have capital जहाँ पर हम बहुत सारे माइक्रो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को पहले स्किल करें, वहाँ पर भी कैपेसिटी बढ़ाएं, फिर उनको काम दें. हम दोनों चीजें साथ बाय साथ करते हैं. ऑर्डर जैसे जैसे आते हैं हमारे पास, वैसे वैसे उनको ऑर्डर फाइनेंसिंग करते हैं, और हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट मोर ऑन रिसोर्सेज और स्किलिंग रहता है वहाँ पे. बट आई वुड से दैट द गवर्नमेंट ऑलरेडी हैव अ सेट ऑफ बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एक्सपर्टीज एंड पीपल फॉर सेटिंग अप, which they have already set up micro entrepreneurs across the country under our NRLM as well. So I think our value addition, wherein we can grow more and double the micro entrepreneurs very soon, is to work on those micro entrepreneurs which are already under the belt of NRLM. So and we will come with an expertise of creating market access to them. We'll come with an expertise of creating different values in terms of how their products can become much more marketable, how we can eventually impart a knowledge of design or the knowledge of quality, right? So we have that expertise as a company in our system, and we act like not a B2C company but a B2B company. So the volumes which we drive are much more larger. Today we are talking in terms of almost around 25 crores as top line for our company. So I think in that sense, we intend to hit a goal of creating business opportunities worth around 100 crores in the next 3 years. And that's what our ambition and vision is also. So, and I truly believe that the impact can only happen when we give sustainable business opportunities to people like Shamli, as she rightly said, that business is something which she is looking at, right? That is one point. Second, I want to, so first point was access to the already infrastructure which the government has, and we can work on top of it. Second is in terms of access to capital. So access to capital is very important. अगर जैसे हम कभी भी orders करते हैं ना, तो we need low interest debts for working capital. Right now we just lose a lot of opportunity to work with large buyers because working capital becomes a big challenge for us, right? So I think there can be areas wherein we can get working capitals at low interest. There can be opportunities wherein we can invest money in skilling by taking skilling and capacity building, if we can leverage CSR funds. But as a private limited, we cannot do that, and I think that's where access to incubators also help us. So and we have been very fortunate to have a KIT as one of our incubator, wherein with whose help we have been able to leverage small amounts of grant which we have invested into skilling and capacity building. But I think local CSR funds would be able to support us and deliver much more impact which we want to do in terms of skilling. And third is in terms of equity capital, which we have already raised, but we intend to raise more primarily because that is where growth of the company comes from. The growth of the company do not come from debt and grants. The growth of the company comes from having the right resources, having the right setup, wherein we would be able to generate 10 times the more business we are doing it today, and invest in marketing, invest in right product sampling. So I think that is what is required. And I think if all of this is as a place is settled, then in that case we will be easily able to double our RMAs very fast and create more impact.
Yeah. So that we understand, and we are very unfortunate. We can say in India we have very less patient capital investor. Okay, a lot of investors are looking their returns within 3 or 4, max to 5 years. They are wait, but they cannot wait to next 10 years because everyone looking for a return and everyone looking for a thing. But lot of foundations, lot of good impact investors in the market as well, but they are very much limited in their scope. We need such more impact investor. We need such more incubators to be part of the ecosystem, so they can support like you in the working capital as well as the grants as well as the patient equity capital. So by the way, we are taking some very encouraging questions also from the audience. if you see the chat box, Mani, the question number 4 is very much linking to the discussion that we are doing now. So they are asking, how do you generate a business for the micro entrepreneurs? And that everyone want to know, because the clarity is not coming in our sessions right now, because how they are generating the business, how they are getting the money, how they are getting the livelihood opportunity, increasing the livelihood and all that stuff. Yeah, could you please put some light on that?
Sure, Azhar. So basically, I think that's something which is a very valid question in terms of our 28 micro entrepreneurs today, which are spread across 8 states of India, right? So every micro entrepreneur and the set of artisans, they come with different set of capabilities and different product levels, right? So what we do as first step is that we kind of do a lot of research in terms of our market sizing, in terms of our demand as well, what type of clients we are going to cater to, and what type of product actually they're going to make. And that's something we kind of marry it along with our micro entrepreneurs to justify the kind of volume and the kind of products we are going to give to them for 1 quarter and for 1 year as well. That also helps us in kind of building that understanding of our business also. Like we're talking about, so when we're talking about a 20 plus and 25 CR business plan and basically achieving that top line. So that's where we are kind of confident in terms of we have those numbers aligned with a set of retailers and buyers that we work with. We have kind of broken down that into different product categories that we want to cater to. And with every product category, we have micro entrepreneurs and clusters aligned where we want to build that capacities, right? So that's how we go ahead with the planning in terms of 1 year ahead, with what micro entrepreneur level business we are going to generate in every cluster. That's how we do it. And we also make sure that our payment cycles are very much clear and transparent to our micro entrepreneurs and the set of artisans when we operate, because that's what the level of clarity we operate with a set of buyers as well. So similarly, we operate with the same clarity in terms of payments and in terms of how the business volume is going to be with our micro entrepreneurs today.
Okay, great. So one questions, not questions, actually one point that you have spoken, that there is a problem in getting the working capital and access to finance to such micro entrepreneurs of field. So one gentleman has asked very good question. So are there any end user finance solution that Lalten uses currently? I understand, because a lot of other company like Lalten are using the end user finance solution like NBFC. So maybe some banks and all, they are doing them business with banks and NBFCs to support such entrepreneurs and all that stuff. So do you have such things in place, or do you have a plan to build a partnership with ground level financial institutions?
Yeah, definitely, Ajay. So in our capabilities, we do have small OD limits with our bank, so that helps us with our working capital requirement. We also work with one NBFC for invoice discounting, so that they discount some of our bills, which are from large buyers actually. And we also are in talks with one debt fund, so that we can raise short-term loans to the tune of around 75 lakh rupees for a tenure of around 9 months. So to finance our order payables and eventually receivables, which comes after 2 months for our working capital. So for the time being, we have this as a structure in our company.
Okay, so these finances coming directly to you, not directly to the entrepreneur, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you are basically transferring the money as the form of the invoices.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So if I flip the question, if I ask to you, is there any solution to provide the direct access to capital through different NBFCs or banks to such entrepreneurs to increase their production through holding a lot of raw materials, or through holding the different entities? So do you have such plan, or is it feasible for you to do this, or is it feasible to do as a community as well?
No, I think that's a very good input, Ajay, and we have been thinking over it actually, and I think it rightly helps us, wherein if the finance can go directly from the NBFC in the tune of around 2 to 8 lakh rupees, that's generally the order value which we give to our micro entrepreneurs per order, and the micro entrepreneurs can have access to these NBFCs with minimum KYCs and avail these working capitals. So one thing which we are also intending to do is that we have created our mobile CRM, which we give it to the micro entrepreneurs across the country. And it has a feature wherein we are integrating different NBFCs, partnering with them to have an API on our mobile CRM, so that whosoever the working order gets to the micro entrepreneur, they can also avail and book their working capital limits with a particular NBFC there. So we're in a phase of doing that, and also leverage technology there. But I think that's a very good input, which can also work out in our sector.
Okay, so we have spoken a lot of things about the rural entrepreneurs. Let's talk about more 2-3 things about your customers. Okay, like Zara, like other international customers. So we understand because their demand is very different, and for fulfilling such demands, it's very important to have a high level of skills among the rural entrepreneurs where you are procuring the product. Okay, also in with you as well, because you also need some designer in place who can understand the demand of the international market. So how you are managing all this stuff, because that lot of entrepreneurs willing to understand how you are. See, one thing we very much understand, the equity capital needed to pay salaries and all this stuff, okay, to get a new people, to get a high skilled people. But not only equity capital can do this. Some entrepreneurship is skill, some managerial skill, some leadership is skill, some visions also be very important to grow your business, to grow, to sustain and to do such business in with your people. So let us give us some light about this, how you are basically putting the leaderships, putting the right people in place, putting the right things in place to fulfill the demand of the international player.
Yeah. So Ajay, I'll start. So I think what we do is that we work from top to bottom, wherein we focus on what is the demand which we can get, and with our annual turnovers as well. So for example, speaking that if we want to have a turnover of 25 crores, now that 25 crores can come from 25 buyers who can give me 1 crore each, or it can come from 250 buyers who can give me 10 lakh rupees each, right? But at the same time, it is very tough to reach out to 250 buyers, which can give me 10 lakh each in a year, or 25 buyers who can give me 1 crore each, right? So what we do is that we bifurcate our buyers into different buckets. And then as per the different buckets, and I would say large enterprises, mid-size companies, and eventually companies which are small scale companies or online Instagram companies. So that's how we bifurcate our buyer groups. And basis of that, we have solutions to eventually cater to their requirements. So for example, we have large tech buyers like the likes of Zara or Pantaloons or Fab India or Reliance Retail who would buy from us. And we have dedicated supply which we have married to them, right? And a dedicated design team, a dedicated vertical key account manager to suffice their requirements. And now we are also building in enterprise solutions, which is an online CRM solution from design to delivery, so that all of these things become much more efficient. On the other hand, for mid-sized buyers is very important because pandemic the large-scale enterprises all tossed. They didn't give any business because unka to dukaan hi band thi, right? And now the mid-sized businesses are like the likes of Pepperfry or Myntra, Ajio, Amazon, Flipkart, and our category of buying. So they and the small size buyers like the likes of Fabnest, Okhai, Suta, who have been taking our products. They were the cash cows for us who helped us give businesses and opportunities for our micro entrepreneurs to also earn. And that is how they are also structured. And NKV supply chain is accordingly mapped so that for sufficing an order of 10 lakh rupees, my resource should not develop. We have automated it in such a way that the resources do not invest a lot of their time and efforts into the orders, which we can do it for the small buyers. So that's how it is end-to-end integrated. Moreover, I would say that we have a very focused approach, and we've been very fortunate to have a right leadership team. So we've onboarded some strong people from the sector. For example, President of Fab India has joined us to head our supply chain and sales, and he has set up the right processes in terms of right quality checks, in terms of right onboarding of buyers and sufficing their right qualities and services to them. Which historically I would acknowledge that we have failed also, like because we organically grew to do this, and we are only learning by our mistakes, and that's how with a strong leadership team we have been able to add right values in terms of right supply parameters and impact parameters. On the design level and on the market reach level also, we have different dedicated teams which are, I would say, proficient and skilled to do this. So that's how we do.
Yeah, I think to add to it, to add to what Manish said right now, one more thing that we kind of also building in right now is in terms of just inculcating that right design practice also, because one thing that we have done with our micro entrepreneurs is that to understand the design connection to a micro entrepreneur is something which is very important to grow the entrepreneur and the designs that are coming out from the cluster. I think that linkage is something that we're very strongly established, because that is helping our buyers a lot in terms of implementing and finally executing those designs.
Okay, so just top up one question more here. So you said a lot of people have joined, very good people have joined Fab India, ITC and all. So why they are joining? What is the attraction point to them to join your startup? Could you please brief us?
No, I think we have been very fortunate in terms of having the right talent pool in our company, and I would say that the reason they have joined us, and as I hear from them, is that they have not come across a company like ours which can work from end to end in terms of fabrics, yardages, to eventually finished goods like home furnishings and garments in across the clusters in the country, right? So we are in short a B2B of Fab India, and the opportunity to create that in the current scenario is huge, because we cannot think of any other brand in India which does B2B in this sector. And the opportunity on the demand side is also huge, because on the demand side there are end-to-end brands who are looking for these kind of products. I think I would say demand has always not been a concern for us. The concern has been to skill people like Shamli and micro entrepreneurs and have that supply strong, right? And that's where we have the right support in terms of talent. They entirely echo with the vision which we have and the potential which the sector has, and how much it is yet to be unleashed, right? So I think that's a very big forte for us, and we're on to doing something interesting and creating definitely a bigger entity in this entire space, which has been all unorganized, and we do not know of any other brand than Fab India in B2C, right? And in B2B, we do not have any other brand in this sector. So I think that has been enough motivation for them to join us.
Yeah. So a lot of startups who's listening this, they must have such questions, because you are a very early stage startup, just touching your 25 crores to what you told, I think, something like that. So have you reached the break-even point, or if not, then what is your planning and when you are going to be reached this?
Sure. So Ajay, I think that's a very important question. And while we started this entity from our own apartment in Bangalore, we were all bootstrapped for almost 2 years, and we used to sell products to earn a living to run our apartment, and that's how we did it. And over that period of time, we were fortunate to get right angels and some impact funds to believe into what we are doing, and that has also scaled our journey from what we were doing to at least 5x the next year, and over a period of last few years, we have almost grown by 10 to 15% month on month. So I think that growth has only been possible when we could have a right people in the system, and people are the ones who drive the company, and it's not 3 of us as co-founders at the end of the day. So to have that right talent pool, we needed to have the right equity capital as well, and that's where we've invested into hiring the right set of people, or creating a right secret sauce which can eventually deliver country's best and the biggest B2B company of the sector. So I think, and that's where, coming directly to your answer, we have not been able to focus a lot on creating break-even. But any day, if you would want to create break-even, we could do that. So last year we did it twice when we were short of funds, and when we have more access to funds. So at that point of time, we invest more on people so that we can grow faster. So our sector is more of a profitable business. So that's the ideology for us as well, to drive business and And in the next 8 months, we'll be break even.
Great. So all the best, Manit. So before ending this session, I have to ask one question. If you see the chat box, question number 2, which is very touching questions to your business model. If you see they have asked how you strike a balance between preserving traditional design arts, which are an integral and unique part of the community identities. Could you please highlight this? How?
Yeah, sure. So I think that's a very interesting question in terms of what we are doing with our micro entrepreneurs and our artisans, right? So in fact, it's very true that traditionally our entrepreneurs and our artisans, they have been working with a certain process, a certain skill and technique that they make their products with, right? And when we initially go to with these artisans, set of artisans in the clusters when we travel, so one thing that we have seen is that obviously their tradition and their skill level and their technique is something which is kind of they're very much attached to, right? तो एक आर्टिसन के लिए वो बहुत जरूरी है कि वो किस अपने स्किल और टेक्निक से वो उस प्रोडक्ट को बना रहा है. But I think हम वहाँ पे what we kind of interfere and what we kind of add value there is in terms of not going to change उसका जो traditional process और technique है, but just making sure that उस traditional process और technique को अगर हम ऑर्डर कर सकते हैं to a level जहाँ पे वो नया डिजाइन implement कर सकता है, where the new designs that we want to make. He's already kind of weaving using cotton and silk threads. अगर मैं weaver की बात करता हूँ तो already cotton silk weave कर रहा है. But it's all about what kind of new elements we can introduce into that same technique so that product becomes more marketable. वहाँ पे हमारे लिए initially उसको वो चीज समझाना थोड़ा difficult होता है, but with time as we sort of make that final product with our design team and when we see that there is a demand coming for that product, so it starts picking up there. तो वहां पे फिर एक आर्टिसन कम्युनिटी और ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी को ये समझ में आता है कि इस एडिशन से कितना बेनिफिट हो रहा है हमें बिजनेस के लिए और प्रोडक्ट लेवल को हम प्रोडक्ट्स को बेच पा रहे हैं एक्चुअली मार्केट. So that's how it develops with us actually. So we're not kind of, and that's what our intention also is. We're not going to change how they're traditionally making the product. It's just that we are kind of adding value whatever we can in terms of that technique only. उसको कैसे more marketable बनाने के लिए.
No, I'll give you an example quickly that, for example, कोई artisan महेश्वर में साड़ी बुन रहा है, but उसी fabric, cotton silk fabric से आप curtains बना सकते हो, आप home furnishing बना सकते हो. You can change the color shade so that it can appeal to European market more or an American market. So ये artisans और micro entrepreneurs को महेश्वर में नहीं पता, right? क्योंकि वो साड़ी बना रहे हैं, वो साड़ी exhibitions में लेके जाते हैं, वहाँ बेचते हैं. So I think that's how we do not intend to change the techniques and the crafts and their machines and the looms which they work on, but eventually create a value in terms of right design from the demand. So we have a design team which focuses on ki market mein kya chahiye, how the products can become marketable, and that's how our designers skill them and we create that market opportunities for them to sell the orders.
Okay, so we will take this discussion offline as well, Manit and Sanchit, with both of you. So thank you so much. Thank you so much to be joined this panel with Will Grow, and I hope people have taken a lot of take points from this session, and it will also help Will Grow to design more new projects with different foundations and bilateral organizations to support such more RMEs through its startup ecosystem. Because we also seen in the decade, the 10-20 decade that already passed, a lot of startups are coming and mostly coming in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So it's a huge opportunity for any foundations, bilateral organizations, incubator and all to design such program where they can support a startup, where they can simultaneously they can support RMEs as well, rural entrepreneurs as well. So thank you so much, Manit. I request Anubha to wrap this session.
Thank you, Manit, Sanchit, Shamli ji, and Azhar. This was a truly enriching session. It was wonderful to have each one of you share your valuable insights and inspiring stories with us. And I'm sure that even our participants thoroughly enjoyed the last hour. Coming up next is a panel discussion on how hospitals can increase their adoption of innovation and invention, and a fireside chat on navigating the tech-based agri-advisory space. You can also meet Fourth Partner Energy and Bharat Innovation Fund in the networking lounges. See you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.